probably let's go ahead and break the market down and then make some money today. Let's get it rolling. But the intro needs to play.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, folks, I did find that button there. I promise you I clicked on it the first time, but it didn't respond. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. We are here to break down the market, make some trades, and extract some money from this market. Thanks for being here. I've got my guest in the back, 13. How you doing? And folks, guess what? I've got really good news. Really good news. Nick's school is canceled, so he's joining us too. So let's go ahead and welcome Nick to the program. How are you folks doing this morning?
Go ahead, Nick. Tell them how you're doing.
It's very cold here.
Cold was the answer. Cold. It's actually interesting. It warmed up to 4 degrees here in Chicago. It was in the negatives the past couple of days. But we're from Chicago. We're used to this, so we're okay. My heater's working, thankfully, so we're all set. Hopefully, the coldest days are behind us. Let's heat it up and get back to the market here. Let me go ahead and add the screen here. We do want to talk about quite a bit going on. I know we just got some retail sales data. I'm looking at the pre-market here. We're soft into the open. Let's see what happens if we actually take another leg down. It's been kind of a rough ride for the broader market recently. I know we briefly went positive yesterday, but inevitably closed lower, and it looks like we're going to have a lower open today. So if we take a look at the SPY here, this is a daily chart. We've actually broke beneath the 20-day moving average. I have the next support level here at about 462, and then I have the 50-day moving average at just about 461. So I would imagine about 10 points below where we're at, we would have some pretty decent support. We'll see if we get there. Probably not today. One of the other things you can see here is that all of these moving average lines are starting to curl up and go above the Fibonacci retracement levels that we've identified. So let's see where this ends up. Remember, with each passing day, these lines are going to continue to draw on this chart, and we should arrive at a pretty decent support level if the market does continue to come in. As mentioned, we did get some data here this morning. We have U.S. retail sales month over month for December, 0.6% versus the 0.4% estimate. Prior reading was 0.3%, so that came in a little hot there. I think I wasn't actually watching as soon as that data print dropped. It does look like the market moved down on that. It looks like it kind of moved a little bit, went back and forth on that. So we'll see if that has an effect for the regular session here. But looking at the SPY here, I still think we probably come in a reasonable target here, about 470 or 467. 13, I know you have some S&P targets. Was I anywhere near those?
Well, the levels that I have that I was looking for some trading action to occur is I have a support at 473. We've broken through that already. And then I have a resistance at 476. One of the things I'll note that I've noticed that we've been starting to do with this price action since the end of the year is we started broadening. And we could be forming a megaphone pattern here, which would mean there's more upside ahead. We are going to probably trade down here a bit. We need to maybe make one more session of lower lows since the year that started. And then after that, I'd imagine if we see this pattern resolve, we're going up to 480 or higher.
Okay, so that sounds like a potential case for a new all-time high break in there. We'll see if we end up getting that from the SPY. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other stocks that are moving today. I know Nick's got some news he wants to roll over, so we're going to go ahead and do that too. But first, we have to remind you, good morning, Gil. We have to remind you that the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. This is a prop firm that gives you up to $260K in buying power. So if you're struggling with having enough funds or getting above that pattern day trader threshold, give Trade the Pool a shot. They have a huge pool of stocks to trade from. Also recently released a new WhatsApp group so that you can communicate with the team over there. We thank Trade the Pool. Thanks for being here, Gil. Much appreciated for all of your help. Let's take a look at the market real quickly while Gil's here. And while we're talking about them, let's take a look at some of the Trade the Pool stocks for today. First one here is going to be Coin. You can see Coin's really kind of come in towards its 50-day moving average. It's done a good job of holding up at that 50-day moving average. Support here at about 130 and resistance at about 135.5. So we'll see if Coin ends up getting rolling here. I was taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin down just under 2% here this morning. We'll see if that changes. Of course, Tesla on the list for Trade the Pool, on the list for Lynn and Randy as well. And actually, on the daily chart here, looks like we might be forming a bottom. We did bounce off 212 yesterday. We'll see if that 212 comes into some more or gets tested again here today. Trade the Pool is telling you that the supports there is at 212.50. I would agree with that. I would say 212 to 212.50 is some pretty good support for Tesla. We bounced off there yesterday. Looks like a bottoming formation here on the daily chart. So let's see if we get.
Well, Ryan, did you hear what happened in Chicago?
I mean, lots of stuff happens in Chicago. What specifically are you referring to?
Well, I was going to say regarding Tesla, there's been reports out from CBS and everybody saying Tesla owners run into battery charging trouble in Chicago's bitter cold.
You don't say. Well, I'll tell you what. I do a very. I actually use energy not turning on the local Chicago news here because, generally speaking, it's not any good at all. I'll say this about the Tesla. I've been saying that this is going to have cold weather problems for months. So to me, this isn't even really news. This is just confirming something I already knew. Nick, tell us some more about that. How bad is it for some of my fellow Chicagoans?
Well, there was a parking lot at a local station for charging stations, and the Teslas couldn't move because the battery died. It was so cold. And someone says, quote, "I've been here for over 5 hours at this point, and I still have not gotten to charge my car. A charge that should take 45 minutes is taking 2 hours." They also said person they were talking to, this is CBS, that he saw at least 10 Teslas get towed. Tesla advises owners to keep the charge level about 20% during bitter cold weather. The company's support website says it's normal to see energy consumption increase because the Teslas use more energy to heat the battery and cabin. They say that Tesla did reply to CBS for comment saying basically, quote, "We've made several updates to improve your driving experience in freezing temperatures, including better overall thermal performance, quicker supercharging, and improved cabin conditioning." This is why
little asterisks next to that when the damn car starts. But yes. Anyway, keep going.
But again, this is with all EVs. It's cold. I would not go with an EV. Tesla's just not the right fit for this. I would probably go with a gas-powered vehicle.
Yeah, so there's just a couple of things that I take away from this. First of all, I'm not surprised by this news at all. Second of all, and Jay Rice has been telling us this for a while, this is why ChargePoint and Blink and some of these other stocks that were part of the infrastructure plan or the thing behind the thing really just have not taken off. ChargePoint and Blink here at lows. I mean, the reality is EVs are cool. I do think they're here to stay. And I do think bringing the consumer a choice of EV versus internal combustion is a really good idea and going to have a net positive over time. But trying to force the entire driving populace over to that is silly. It's not going to work. It needs to be rethought. And the people currently pushing this need to be removed straight up. I'll be as nice as I can. It's just simply not going to work. I can't imagine being stuck at a charging station for 5 hours in negative 10-degree weather because my car doesn't start. That would be the last car from that company I buy. Mark my words. So any case, thanks very much, Nick, for that. We'll take a look at this. I do think Tesla has an opportunity to trade up from the spot that it's at now. We'll see if it does come back in a little bit. Look for that 212.50 area to be the potential bounce spot. Now, because we actually talked a little bit about Tesla there, I'm going to roll through this list real real quick. I'm going to turn it back over to Nick. And then 13, I'm going to have you wrap us up and take us into the open if you're okay with that, if there's more stuff to discuss. If there isn't, we'll go ahead and hit the chat here. Love that everyone has joined us here this morning. Let's get it rolling. Okay, couple of smaller stocks to trade off of the movers tool here. First one is going to be PTPI. This is Petros Pharma. When I first took a look at this list, I actually didn't notice this thing moving. So this must be a recent move. Sure looks like it. Looks like we popped from about 120 up to about 210. Let's see if there's any news on this. Petros Pharmaceuticals demonstrates positive results following a successful completion of the initial cohort of phase 2 equivalent self-selection study for Stendentra. RX to or prescription to over-the-counter switch. So that does seem like a quite a bit of word salad in there. I'm actually not familiar with this company or what they're discussing there. I'll leave that to you. It has popped the stock here. We're up 23%. The way I would handle this is just look at the volume and look at some of your different technical indicators. I don't think this PR here is a game changer. Just for me, that did come out in the 9 o'clock PR group, which is why we didn't move when we first took a look at that list. So giddy up. Next here is going to be Bullfrog AI. This is going to be BFRG. And let me go ahead and reset my chart here real quick. BFRG, we did pop just as high, almost as high as 4, stopped at about 390 there. We've kind of come back in here, lost my VWAP again. Boy, I'm upset about that. Anyway, I came back in here. We're right beneath the VWAP, but for the most part right there. We'll see if we end up pushing away here on Bullfrog. We did have a PR here. Bullfrog AI's collaboration with Lieber Institute for Brain Development yields potentially groundbreaking biological stratification of brain expression data. So it looks like another good PR there. I'd actually dig into that to see if that has any long-term effects, but in the interim, we will go ahead and trade some of those technical levels. Again, BFRG, we've traded this one before. This is moved with AI names. Just kind of looking at this, if we can pop above that VWAP and maybe take out 340, maybe we do make a run at those highs. So BFRG, definitely one we're going to be taking a look at here in terms of some of the smaller names. Also, we're getting revisited by RVSN. So I know we talked about RVSN yesterday. Looks like this is starting to gear up here again today. I definitely want to see more volume in this name. There seems to be some other plays on the list here. I'm sorry, 13?
And Roma seems to be coming back too. I think that's we're gonna see a lot of today. Those previous names that we've traded and have run before. I think they're gonna get some attention because looking at the scanners, not too many things that I find interesting here. So I think the old names might come back to.
I would agree with that. And that's another good tip there, 13, about why you want to keep some of these watch lists and keep some of this stuff handy here for you. Roma, this was a great call by Crow. While I was in the office, this stock went absolutely bananas. Yep. So let's see what we can do here today on Roma. The other one that I had in here was SLDP. That's Solid Power here. Looks like this one also popping a little bit today, but again, beneath the VWAP, we'll see if we can clear that VWAP out. Now, one other that I wanted to discuss, and I'm actually going to segue and turn this over to Nick because there's a lot to this particular story attached to one or maybe even more potential trades here. Of course, we're going to talk about Safe. Now, this is Spirit Airlines. This is a daily chart that you're currently looking at here. We really kind of fell out of bed yesterday on Spirit. If you recall back, I want to say, let's take a look here. Maybe a couple months ago, right in November, we talked about playing this for a potential short-term swing trade. 13 and I, we both discussed the thesis of this trade in the happy hour program. We ended up taking it. It did take a leg lower to shake some people out, but that ended up being a real great trade here. Now, recently, we have some news that the merger between JetBlue and Spirit is not going to go through. Some lines about capitalism actually needing competition. None of it really makes any sense. But in any case, Spirit here selling off to the lows. We actually re-breached the lows that we made in, middle of November. I'll be honest, I'm going to have Nick cover this, but there's a buyout termination fee to keep in mind here. There's a lot of moving parts here. And, yes, there's a chance that this company files for bankruptcy, but there's also a chance that we bounce back here prior to that filing. So, Nick, what do you have here on Spirit?
Yeah, so this all came yesterday, and you could just take a look at that chart. Spirit Airlines puking, whatever you want to call it, yesterday when this news come out. A federal judge blocked the JetBlue Airways purchase of budget rival Spirit Airlines after the Justice Department sued to stop the merger. The DOJ had argued in its lawsuit the deal was anti-competitive and would hurt consumers. Well, JetBlue and Spirit then issued a joint statement basically saying in part that they disagreed with the ruling and were evaluating next steps. Quote from the U.S. District Court Judge William Young wrote in his decision, quote, JetBlue plans to convert Spirit planes to the JetBlue layout and charge JetBlue's higher average fares to consumers. The elimination of Spirit would harm cost-conscious travelers who rely on Spirit's low fares. The decision handed down Tuesday marks a victory for the Justice Department because in their statement by Attorney General Merrick Garland, he said, quote, today's ruling is a victory for tens of millions of travelers who would have faced higher fares and fewer choices had the proposed merger between JetBlue and Spirit had been allowed to move forward. The Justice Department will continue to vigorously enforce the nation's antitrust laws to protect American consumers. Remember, this all started back in March. Basically, the JetBlue's acquisition of the budget airline would force many passengers to pay higher fares. That's according to the DOJ. Now, how does this lawsuit set up for other competitors that may want to do this? Well, here at Benzinga, we also brought you news saying that Alaska Air wants to acquire Hawaiian Airlines. And if you take a look at those charts as well, both of those companies fell on that report. They since recovered a little bit, but there may be fears of this being blocked as well, ticker ALK and HA. So where do we go for the airline industry? How does this shape up for earnings? Well, again, we are in the heart of earnings season this week, next week, in through month end. And we probably will hear from more commentary from Spirit, from Hawaiian, from Alaska, from all these different airline companies, because travel is not going away. We saw over the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that air travel was almost at a record or near at those levels. So as we head into earnings season, can more acquisitions, can more mergers happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know what the airline industry is going to do here. The news that you were reading there, Nick, that just seems like they're focusing on just a political win for a party that really needs a lot of them. They have a lot of L's hung on their record here. The one thing that I will say here, or I wanted to add here, 13, I know you were doing a calculation on its tangible book value yesterday. Looks like QN here in the chat said, I did calculations on Save yesterday, adjusted to debt, $8 is fair value. We're currently looking at a $6.76 price target here. So lots of stuff here. You also had things with their routes that you were talking about, 13. The one worry here, if we take a look at some of the stats here, it's going to be the debt, right? $3 billion, and let me make sure I'm on Spirit Airlines, $3.04 billion in debt, $1.26 billion in revenue, cash under $1 billion. So, I mean, it's obviously the debt's kind of weighing this down. What do you think as a potential trade here or potential next move on Save?
It's a trade. I it's going to have to be however many eyes are on this and want to keep shorting it into oblivion. Yeah. And, bulls come in and try to squeeze them out, then that's going to be the fight. From a different standpoint, because I've been, I wanted to try to play this a little bit for the merger, and that didn't work out. So I even, dug even further. Apparently, their debt, that is the really big central issue here with how they're performing. That's going to be due this year. So they're going to have to either get acquired or refinance, and that's not going to be cheap. The other thing that you mentioned about their breakup fee, if JetBlue and Save don't appeal this, which is still on the table, if they don't do that, then JetBlue is going to end up having to pay a total of $470 million, $70 million to Spirit Airlines directly and $400 million to their shareholders. And they've already begun to do that starting last year. Another thing that's interesting about this is that this whole thing started in 2022 when Frontier made an offer to Spirit. For cash and stock, and then JetBlue came in with in my opinion, a very inflated offer. It's probably the one that they couldn't even afford to begin with, and tried to buy them out because they're looking at that as their growth prospect. What I was mentioning about Spirit having really, really highly coveted, and we were open actually. Really,
I was going to say we're open here. 13.
I'll wrap it up. They're highly coveted spaces in airports and gates is something that smaller airlines like Allegiant and Frontier would really want to get from Spirit should they need to file bankruptcy and start selling off assets. So I think there's some hidden value in Spirit.
Okay.
Roma is taken off.
Let me flip over to my main workspace here and let's take a look at that. Roma. Roma is moving to the upside here, but what do I...
And Q, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think there's some hidden value in save that a lot of the market's not seeing. It looks like we might be getting a halt here in Roma. Yep, we are halted. Holy crap! There it goes.
Yep, right into that 482 and a halt there on Roma. It's a good start here. Let me go ahead and flip over to trade the pool. My skin
is next. It looks like. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's trying to get above VWAP, and on my chart it is trying to get up to the next level I have, which is about 345. We're at 341. I think it's made the high so far in the regular session.
Okay, Roma's not in trade. I'm sorry. What was that? Help me out here, man. That was moving way too fast for me.
No problem. I was talking about BFRG. That one had a pretty good pop out of the gate, went up above VWAP, and it's now trading slightly beneath it. The levels I have for this one is
BFRG not in trade the pool either. Boy, rough day here.
Okay, maybe we need to look for something that we can have.
Yeah. This is here's NTNX. This is Nutanix. Jay Rice was talking about this one earlier. This has made a huge move here. Been an absolute great swing. Sorry, just give me a sec here.
No worries, man. Another thing that I was going to mention, and I don't really trade these because they're a little bit they can move pretty fast. MIMO, Airspan Networks, had some news this morning. They're up 275%. And they're only starting to rise out of the gate here. The pre-market high that I have for this is 32 cents and some fractions of pennies. But if we can get above that, then let me see what the next levels I have. I don't think I have too many levels above this because I didn't really look into this one too much. But this one has a partnership with GCT Semiconductor, and sorry to interrupt here. 13 MIMO, which was for one of the stocks that we were looking at, one of the penny stocks here, looking like this might be able to take off the pre-market high here and keep going. One of the other things I noticed about MIMO is on November 8th, they had a profitable ER. This was an ER where they actually turned a profit, so their net profit was not in the negative as it's been in the past. That was really good news. It did move on that, but I don't think it moved on that news as much as it moving on this partnership right now. So PTPI, that one has, that one had the pop in pre-market and it has not recovered yet. 158 is the level that I have that it needs to get back over to see continued upside. Might get a reversal at about 133 if it can get support from the EMAs down there on the 5-minute chart.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out problems while I'm on here. It's not easy to do. All right, here's Boeing. Boeing looks like this is popping here in the pre-market. Might be going higher here on Boeing. Hourly chart actually looks decent for a move back to balance here.
Yeah, I agree, QN. Be very, very careful with MIMO. BFRG is just tearing it up right now. It's going through several levels I have.
Okay, let me see if I can get that here on a different screen. Give me a sec.
Sure. And if you can't, I'm just kind of letting the chat know if they're.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to go back and forth.
It's okay, man. It's okay. My mouth is pretty fast sometimes. It just rings the ears.
So
Disney.
BFRG.
Who said Disney? Somebody mentioned Disney. Ryan Milligan mentioned Disney is up. Let me see if I can find why that is. It's been kind of moving up. Bob Iger rejected activist shareholders board picks. So I think we kind of know about the fight that's going on with the board and trying to. There's a takeover that's trying to unfold because their content, Disney's content, is subpar in my opinion, and I think they need to. Get Iger and a bunch of his buddies out of Disney before it completely implodes the company.
Right there with you on BA. Hey, Ryan, Staff Sergeant Ryan. Staff Sergeant Ryan joining us again. So yeah, I am looking into this. It looks like if I load up a scanner from a different workspace here, it's working fine. So
RVSN, are you able to pull that up on Trade the Pool?
yes, RVSN we traded yesterday. So
I think
let's
it's about
do
to
that
go
again here. Let me go ahead and flip back here. Here we go, RVSN. And actually, it looks like we are kind of curling up here on RVSN.
Yeah, I think
The
that
high yesterday just above 2. Looks like we could take 2 here.
Mm-hmm. In the pre-market, unless that's from yesterday. No, it's from in pre-market. I have a high of 210.
Yeah, that's what I have right here. 209, maybe a 210 print in there. I might try some of this here. I might try some of this RVSN. Yeah, we're going to take some right here. Just going to give it a shot.
Okay.
I don't have BFRG. That seems to be the big one here. So if we fall back down anywhere towards the lows of the day here, we'll probably stop out. I got VWAP at 181. Maybe we'll try adding there to see if it holds. But I want to see a move up through 2.
For RVSN?
Yep.
PTPI still leaking out of the market open, but 130, 133. I'm got pegged for a potential support area. So keep your eyes on that if you're looking to trade that one. What else is going here? Man, MIMO, that is just taken off. If you're trading that one, I think the Crow is, correct me if I'm wrong, but great job on that one. That one's it's taken off right now. Not for me, but if you're trading it, great job.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of those penny stocks at all. You guys all know that already.
Another one that seems
RVSN looks like it's trying to pop up here. Let's see if we go. Really needs to take 2.
B-Cell, BCEL. That one's starting to get some action out of the gate. Another penny stock. If you want to put your eyes on something that looks like it's going to get going here in a bit.
No volume yet on B-Cell, though. Really want to see some volume flow into that.
It had a good pop at first, and now it just kind of went away. So we'll see what happens with that. But keep it on your radar.
Still waiting for RVSN to make its move here. Tesla first move was down and an immediate bounce back to the VWAP. So let's see. We talked about some of those different levels there. Looks like that 212.50, that was the exact level that Trade the Pool had for Tesla's support. Looks like we bounced clean off that support so far. Let's see where this goes. Remember, 212 to 212.50, really decent support there on Tesla. You got yourself a $2 move here already on Tesla. Yep. Good stuff.
And the thing with Tesla, if you look at the daily, that thing was hovering right at 30 RSI. Maybe it dipped a little bit lower at the open, but I think that's been the buy signal for the past couple of days. Is the low RSI in Tesla. RVSN, we got that pop, almost hit $2. Didn't quite get there, but that was the move we were looking for. Maybe it continues. I'll just keep watching. You're still in this, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm still in this one.
Okay.
193 is my 194 is my order price here. That's exactly where we're at right now. Really need to see 2 get up. I've got 186, a little bit of support based on some of the orders. We'll see if we can move higher.
Yeah, so far the EMAs are trending in that direction. So hopefully that continues. MIMO, yeah, Jay, or the Crow.
PTPI really kind of bled back down here a little bit. Really needs to kind of pop and move back towards its VWAP.
Yeah, I think we might be getting some support here pretty soon on PTPI.
RVSN moved back down here. Really just kind of holding at that same level. We'll see if we take out 186 to the downside. That would have me worried about this trade.
So BFRG is kind of holding in between 2 levels that I have here. I have, let me just look at this closely. I have one level at 345 and another level at 358. And they're just kind of trading between those 2. So if that continues to consolidate, that might be that 4 or 3, 4. Let me just get my tongue out of the way. That 345 might be a good support level. Looks like we're about to break, and there we go. Now it's going back up above the next level that I had there. Above that, I have 373. Okay, now it's getting rejected. So that 358 is the next level that we need to get over. Tried to trade it over just now. And after that is 373, 374 is what I have for the next.
Looks like it's gearing to try to take out 360 here. Sorry, I can't pull this one up here.
Lynn Williams, I'm glad that indicator's working out great for you. I know you trade Tesla a lot, so You caught that whole $2 move. Bravo.
Nick, we missing anything on the news front? Looking at some of these smaller movers here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, guys, watch 10-year yield back above 4.1, pushing 4.11 a little bit. I think we're about 5-day, 6-day high here. So market is coming down because yields are going up. We're kind of getting that rotation once again. Tesla's down. Watch Boeing, as we talked about pre-show, during the pre-show, that there's an update on the Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft. The FAA is inspecting it, and the first 40 inspections that are part of the process now has been complete. FAA will again review the data and go from there. All 737-9 MAX aircraft with door plugs will remain grounded pending the review from the FAA, and final approval will come from the FAA. So again, Boeing news, we talked about JetBlue. So there's a lot of this airline Boeing space, but then we have the 10-year trying to creep back up. We're still trying to roll through bank earnings. We got Charles Schwab this morning. So still trying to find a footing on, were bank earnings great? Were they okay? How would we set this up for earnings season? Because normally the banks kind of give us this aspect of how earnings season is going to be. And so far from what I've seen, it's been to a meh, okay kind of bank earnings season for Q4. So we still have a lot to get to, but a lot of people will be watching big cap. The Magnificent Seven will be coming later this month.
Okay, appreciate that. RVSN here not looking good. We're back down to the bottom of the range here. A snap below 180 is going to end that for me. Let me go ahead and get that stop set in there.
Yep, the Crows got it. PTPI, I'm also in this one now. PTPI is getting above VWAP, or trying to, and it looks like we might get some movement here on PTPI.
Okay, let's take some of this as well.
One thing that I think we're not focusing on, or the market's not, maybe it is, but we're just not paying attention to it, is the fact that we have a debt ceiling expiration date coming up on January 19th. So that's probably one of the things that may be adversely affecting the market. Yeah, the next level I have in PTPI is 158.
I got 156 as the high print here on PTPI.
Mm-hmm. That could be another level too, but
yeah,
that was going much.
What was
further
your
left.
entry price on this?
143, right beneath, just above where they have that size.
You got really good. I feel like I'm kind of coming in after this. If this breaks and goes, I'm going to wait this out. I'm going to be a little bit patient here. I already kind of took a trade that's going against me, so I might wait this out just a sec here. Crow also mentioning ticker ROI. Jonathan mentioning PRQR. I did notice that was up a little bit here earlier. Jonathan also mentioning ACIC. I'll take a look at that here real quick. That's really moving. That's already moved $1.50 right out of the open on ACIC.
RVSN came
stopped out of RVSN, so yeah, that was no good there on RVSN.
Might get support.
Get PTPI a little bit lower here to support, to be honest.
Yeah, might RVSN might get support at around 170. I'll have to wait and see, because there's another size there at 166 that it also have to go through. So we'll have to see if that gives support. Looks like so far it's working.
Looking around here, Apple looks like that's moving to the lows. Apple, Amazon, Netflix, all at lows here. Banks doing a decent job holding in from yesterday. We're looking at the Goldman Sachs here. PTPI really needs to clear out that 150. Unable to do that here so far. PTPI.
So BFRG, it popped up to that 373, 374 area that I was talking about
right now. Big pull.
Yeah, and now it's pulling. So I'm starting to see this with a lot of these we're talking about. They get up to these levels that we have pre-marked, and then they sell right off.
They sell right. That's why I've been saying that, take the gains when you get them. If you focus more on your entry, that's why I didn't buy PTPI right there. That was above the actual entry. We might just come right back into it. I want to buy it lower. I want to buy the pulls. This has been a consistent theme we've seen in some of these lower priced names that we've been dealing with here. Roma is in fact halted to the downside, by the way. Good call there, order flow.
Yep.
And it looks like BFRG here, 13, lost its VWAP. Looks like we're trading 10 cents under its VWAP. So on that pull, you know, there might have been a tendency to add there. We'll see if this bounces back up and reclaims it here. Volume, I will say, on BFRG looking great. So if you've missed a trade here so far, there might still be another one coming here. But again, you're probably best focusing on entry here. And this certainly looks like we got another down move coming, BFRG.
Yeah, there's some all that supply that we were, you know, the consolidation that we had in the pre-market. That's going to be a pretty decent demand zone. So if we can hopefully have the price maintain this area here and reverse, that'd be good. Otherwise, it's probably going to be under 3 if we break beneath 325. So it looks like we're getting some bulls coming in with that. I'm not going to trade this one yet. I want to see confirmation that we reverse off that bottoming action and we have that demand zone hold. MIMO is not coming in as much as some of these other ones. It's actually holding, and it might make its way up to a new high. 35 cents is the high of the day in the regular session, and we have a current green candle on the 5-minute. Yeah, I agree, QN. Bunch of bull traps 15 minutes after the bell. Absolutely. Be careful, guys. Maybe set some bracket orders, scalp some of these. That might be the way to go. Just, you know, be careful. Oh, Lynn, you're back in SQQQ again. That should have been something I should have considered as well, with how much negative news the airlines are getting these days, and rising or the rate news. You know, I don't know what people are thinking, that we're getting a cut in March.
I still don't understand that, 13. I'll be honest. I'm trying to see the other side of the argument. I just don't get it, though. To me, there's no rate cut in March. I don't understand how there's such a high probability of it. By the way, SAVE continuing to move down here. We talked about this moving down towards its pre-market lows here. Sorry for cutting you off there, 13.
Oh, no worries. You got some breaking news, then break my speech pattern.
Nope, don't have any of that.
All right, so BFRG now testing that 329 area.
BFRG trying to bounce here.
So I took a look at the Jets ETF because I wanted to see if that sector is experiencing overall weakness, and I imagine it is. We're kind of at a level that is a pretty good pullback level from having the run up that we got since the beginning of November. This is I mean, I don't have a percentage here, but we're getting to where it's starting to become oversold. We're not there yet, but if we continue to see weakness in this might be a good contrarian trade. There's also a gap in the ETF JETS from about close to where we are right now. It's let me just get the numbers for you: 1763 to 1732. So there's about,
that's that's right there on the daily. It's hard to see on my trade to pool chart here, but it's right there on the daily, and it is between several moving averages, interestingly enough. So I'm anticipating that we might get a bounce in this. Could be a dead cat bounce, but a bounce nonetheless. PTPI trying to come back off those lows that we were talking about. It never got to 133, but it did get to 136, so not too far away. Trying to get back to the next level I have, which is 158. We'll see if that materializes. That's PTPI, correct?
That is correct. All right. And BFRG is looking like we're getting some good support there from that whole demand zone that I was talking about. We just need to get above the next level that I have at 345.
Market Sniper watching ACIC. That did come back into the VWAP here and moved higher here. Great job if you grabbed that VWAP. Took it off took it off my screen there. Order flow trader saying rate cut in June and December. What do you think, guys and gals? I think that sounds more palatable than March, although I'm still unsure on that June one.
Yeah,
I'm tempted to think later in the year 2015 is probably where it's at.
So one of the
things bounce back to its VWAP here. We'll see what it does there.
One of the things we've been discussing in happy hour is the adverse effect that the shipping problem is going to have on the price of things, everything. And one thing that we're noticing is that because of these ships have to go around the bottom of Africa, I believe it's
the Horn of Africa,
yeah. So that's now a very crowded transit way. In addition to that, refueling down in that region is much more expensive. We'll probably end up seeing that those expenses get passed on to the consumer about 3 to 6 months from now, which is not great if you're expecting rate cuts to start occurring around then. So the pressure to cut rates might change, and we might have higher for longer. Like they've been saying. So
I was going to say, like they've been telling us for a while. By the way, PTPI did take out that 150 area, did hung around this area, finally took it out here. We'll see if we can actually get VWAP tapped here. I've got that at 158, and I've got 156, your intraday high print. We'll see if it can get above there. 13, what do you have here what are you seeing on PTPI?
I'm seeing it pull a bit here, but still above VWAP, my VWAP for the moment. 158 is the next level that it needs to get above. And then I probably feel more comfortable about taking its next level, which would be 173. But right now it needs to do what it hasn't done in the regular session yet and hit that 158 and get over it. RVSN, after selling off, it did bounce off its 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which is at about 170. Coming up, not looking like a great formation. It could end up going lower if we get this sort of bear flag resolution here. Didn't do a whole lot of trading. Only have one good one in the books today. That was with PTPI, and that's pretty much it. I also took a little bit of RVSN. That's right. So 2, but not very big wins. Just small wins. Whoever was doing ACIC was doing great until we started getting some pull here. If VWAP holds, I don't have levels on this, so I really couldn't tell you where this is going. But let me see if I can plug some in, and I'll give you my opinion.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
PTPI still struggling to get above here. BFRG breaking down. The good news here, Bitcoin bounced pretty significantly. Looks like Apple is bouncing here.
Okay, so about just above 12 on ACIC, which where we ran up to. That's where we start to get a lot of overhead supply.
It looks like a big pull coming here on ACIC.
Yeah.
Right back down to the VWAP here.
After that, 1450 looks like the next area. If it can get through 1205, then 1450 would be the next level, but that's going to require a really good amount of volume. We might get it. There's some weekly EMAs that are indicating that there's still more upside to be had. Just can't say when that's going to occur.
PTPI looking like this might end up going here. I kind of want to try this too. I'm already 0 for 1 today, though.
I'm not going to force any trades. This is not looking like a great day.
I was going to say I want to have some exposure here, but I don't feel great about this setup. I think you're right, 13. Thanks for talking some sense into me here. Let's
I don't want to talk you out of trades, but
but you know what? Let's talk me into good setups instead of just gambling after bad setups on these little stocks that just kind of run all over the place. BFRG really struggling using VWAP as its resistance here. It's going to really need to bust through that for there to be a potential trade on BFRG. Not seeing it yet. PTPI here slowed down a little bit.
The Crow was talking MIMO.
That's the penny stock, yeah.
Yeah, that's trying to push above 35. It might do it right here, and then I'm not sure where it's going to go because, like I said, I don't want to trade this one. I don't have levels.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm staying away.
And it's through
from the pennies there.
Make that money, Crow.
Wild mentioning that Boeing here is pulling back. Okay, Boeing pulling back. It went right through its VWAP. Looked like this is right where we opened at, right? Boeing right near its opening price here. Boeing, the interesting part on Boeing is the upside. We got several upside gaps here on Boeing. If we can make it up to that 223, actually a pretty decent trade in there if Boeing can get any type of positive catalyst to turn this around.
Well, it's very oversold.
Just cleared a Boeing short for a quick profit. Voodoo, nice job scalping that one on the way down here. Nice little Boeing short there on the news. By the way, BFRG at VWAP here did clear it and above it. We'll see if we run towards the top end of the band there. 371 is what that measures to. Got about 25 cents from where we're at right here.
Yeah, that level that it's at, 345, that's the level that I have next. It's trying to get over it. And if we can break through 350, 351, where there's a good amount of sellers, this could get going again. I think 358 is the next level I have after that, and then 374.
Aramis mentioning DWAC. That was big yesterday. Let's see where that's at here today. So interesting part about DWAC. One of the things that we talked about, I know that this is connected to Trump via Truth Social. Whatever you think about him and all of that stuff is secondary. This is absolutely a trading vehicle. Yesterday, we saw this move up on the news. It came right back into VWAP right at the after hours and pretty much stayed there. I know we had one push away from it. That was just traders bored in the afternoon. We've pretty much stayed there. Today we're kind of pushing off here. Let's see if we can get above the high. I've got that at about 23. We're currently at 22 here on DWAC. Remember, treat this just as a trading vehicle. If you do get gains in this, do not be afraid to take them off. Yeah. This thing has a mind of its own. Two
things about DWAC. One, yeah, we should have been on this one from the get-go because we brought it up and we were talking about it. So that's really all on us. But here's the thing. I think today's move is on relative volume, and I think the next move that we're going to want to keep our eyes on and prepare for is when they have the New Hampshire primary, which is on the 23rd. Yeah, because this movement that we got yesterday, that was off him winning the Iowa caucuses. Yeah. Exactly. So I think that's going to be the catalyst for the next move, and there might be some coming in of this. So keep that in mind.
If we were taking a look at some of these daily charts here before, lots of pops and drops here with DWAC, but when it starts to move in a trend, it'll move in that trend for a week, 2 weeks. So to your point there about the New Hampshire primaries coming up here, keep an eye on DWAC. Like I said, don't let yourself get behind on it. This is not an investment, but has been a pretty decent trading vehicle. Aramis, good luck if you continue to trade this here today. Jay Rice mentioning that some of the stronger names here are getting hit today. NVIDIA, one of them. I didn't actually have that up when I was mentioning Amazon and Apple at lows here. NVIDIA still pounding lows. So far, Apple's already bouncing. NVIDIA's chart looks a lot like Netflix here. These two definitely the weakest. By the way, BFRG now popping and moving through that VWAP. I had that VWAP at 346.13, printing 354s here on this move.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this one, because I was paying attention to PTPI because I think that's getting ready to make another move here. There's got some good size at 148 that could, now it's gone. So maybe it doesn't.
Sorry.
The BFRG, 358 is the next level I have. It's probably going to keep hitting these levels that we've had in the regular session and pre-market. 358 is the next one. 374 would be after that. And then after, if we can get above that, 410 would be my next level on that one.
Okay. And wow, all of the names Jay just gave us, some of the stronger names are getting hit today. This is spot on. So we talked a little bit about NVIDIA, all of those cyber names that he listed, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, CYBR, even Palo Alto, all of these charts look the same, all of them getting hit here. We've talked about cybersecurity being a potential, trade target in the past. This is a hard one, right? I would think cybersecurity would be a real good business to be in too. Tough day here today.
Well, I think one of the things we're seeing with these cyber names and these tech names is the sentiment on rates. We're starting to get
rates going higher here today. Yep, the 10-year going higher.
So I think that's going to affect all those, and it's going to continue to affect everything that's associated with rates.
So just one of the things that we should do here, and I think we'll just continue to do this while this exists, we'll just keep checking the 10-year first thing in the morning, right? We'll just check what the 10-year yield is at. If it's moving up, we're likely to see a soft tech market. Maybe the market move down. If it's moving down, maybe we'll get a bounce. It just seems, I know Andy from our happy hour group saying that this is, maybe even just kind of range bound when it comes to rates, and the market's just going to kind of react to that. So we'll see. We'll take a look at that, add that to our calculation every day.
I agree with you, Lynn. Cybersecurity long-term play. I'm just not sure that right now is the time to get into that, but I agree that long-term it's going to be great. All right, BFRG.
By the way, Bitcoin really pulling here. So what was that on BFRG?
Looks like trying to hold
over. Yeah,
it's trying to hold 350.
Yeah, Jay, especially like if you take a look here when I was flipping through those charts, that's kind of what I was looking at too. Pan W, this might just be a regression to the mean, right? Because if you take a look here, this recent move, we moved off what, 289, looks like about 280s at the low there. We're currently at 326. So we had a 40 plus point move in here that we're kind of coming back in off of. You're absolutely right. This has been a huge move. What I will say here is that Palo Alto, since I started looking at cybersecurity stocks years ago, Palo Alto has been best in breed. This is clearly the one to own over the long term. It's just, they do a great job. Jay Summers is in and out of BFRG. Awesome. Take care of yourself, Carmen. We know you run a business in the day-to-day here. Man, Bitcoin,
yeah, but we love it when you come on and talk with us. All right, BFRG still trying to make its way up to 358. It might get it here.
Okay, I'm actually going to bring this one up here real quick. Get a nice little view of Nick there.
MIMO is on my chart. It's trying to get back above VWAP.
Here's your BFRG. Let's see if this is your 1 minute chart here. This is the point right here.
Yep. Okay. It just got up there to that 358.
There it goes. Okay, so I think next here is going to be your highs. I've got this at 376 as your next spot here. BFRG.
My level is 374, so that's right in line with where I think that 376 may be just like one of those overshoots. But
yep. And I got 390 next, 13.
And, when we saw those cybersecurity names run up for the past 2 months, I mean, again, all tied to rates. We had a really good rate sentiment the past couple of months. And now the Fed members are coming out and starting to throw cold water on that and say, well, we might be later on this year, might not even be 2024. And if it even is 2024, December, I would say probably the most likely. June, still can't say.
Yeah, I'm thinking later in the year. I'm not ready to move off that just yet. If things change, we'll reassess. But for right now, I think I've got late in the year. BFRG still hanging out around the highs here. This sure does look like it wants to push higher. Good morning, Easy Mike. Hopefully you are doing well. Let us know what you're trading here today. Order Flows Trader wants to take a look at Alt. That's AULT, Alt Alliance here. Let's see what that looks like. This is just kind of breaking down here, right? It's at its low of the day here on Alt. Point of no return, maybe.
What is the news on this one? Let me take a look. When they gap up like that, I'm like, oh, what? It's up. Of 2,101%.
25 reverse stock split.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's the all right. Now is the float very low? Yeah, it's pretty low. So that's going to give you a short interest of 111%. This looks like another kind of junky name. We talk about some of these. We talk about some of these reverse splits, folks. I mean, put this in the Mullen camp. Trading vehicle. I wouldn't. Alt is garbage. Alt is garbage. AULT is garbage. Time to find an alternative. That was tough. That one was tough. DWAC taken off. That was the trade. Ryan, I got to commend you for putting this on our radar. DWAC was the trade. Yeah, sure was. Let's go back to DWAC here real quick. We'll take a look at that. Here is your DWAC trade. You can see we actually moved right out of this. We pushed up into this, kind of consolidated here. I guess we back tested VWAP technically. Another big move here. Remember, just a trading vehicle. A trading vehicle. In fact, if you get moves like this where we break out of consolidation ranges, this is moving $1 higher than the last range, $2 higher now. DWAC still going here. Be sure to pay yourself on the way up,
Be sure to pay. And also listen to Duke the Fool. I mean, if we're gonna have 13 throwing out dad jokes here, we must at least hit the like for them. Like, let's get the like game up here for 13. And DWAC here, this was a huge move. We called this one early. This is a 2-point move from our call on
This
DWAC.
is where all the dad jokes come from my dad fuel.
From your, which is also known as coffee. BFRG stopping near that high that we talked about. BFRG.
I want to point out that smoked tuna was bringing up Zim. That's having a move out of the gate. We had some weakness the past couple of days in this one. And when you look at the daily, this came into it came in the 200 SMA, and it fell below the 200 EMA. And I think that's a pretty important level. Those are two important levels to consider with this one. Is now it's bouncing off those areas and it's trying to get back above the 200 EMA. And I'm looking for some upside in this one. Great mention, smoked tuna. I think we might get a breakout of this 1360 pre-market high.
Yeah, to me, Zim looks like this is going higher, right? We kind of back tested that 200-day a little bit. This to me looks like it's going. We got higher lows on the daily chart. As long as that trend stays intact, I think higher here on Zim. You know what? This might be. You know what? We're going to take a swing trade right here. I'm going to buy some Zim at market right here. We're going to swing Zim.
Okay.
Whereas this is just a starter, so I'm just long 100 shares here. I actually think this does break higher here. We'll see.
Nick, you got it. Nick Sanders, the DWAC. If DWAC is running, fun is running.
Yeah, we talked about that one yesterday. Actually, we talked about that really. I wonder if PHUN also in trade the pool here. That is going to be your penny alternative to DWAC. That is moving here, and as you can see, these formations, they're not exactly the same. DWAC definitely has some more juice.
And one more mention I think is worth bringing up here that we got from Happy Hour that Andy gave to us, SBGI. Take a look at that one today.
Yeah, SBGI. This is going to be a more pure play on political spending. This is the Sinclair Group. They're up here. By the way, BFRG, big yank right to VWAP there. Definitely bounced 4 or 5 cents. We'll see if this bounce holds here. BFRG pull back to VWAP.
Yeah, the SBGI, this one is also tied to rates, but it's also tied to the election years.
Yeah,
and,
but you know what? You know what this has, 13, that I really like? This has a chart. Let me actually bring up Pro here real quick.
Okay.
Let me go back. I got to figure out how we're doing this here. There we go. There we go. Okay. And then I put the wrong ticker in. I think it's SBGI.
That's correct.
Sinclair. I had SGBI. Here you go. So here is your, and this is actually your 1 minute. Let me go to the daily chart. That shows what we're talking about here. So really great looking chart here. If you're going to play any of this political advertising as a potential swing here, decent looking chart here on the daily. We did push up to about right here, 1550, kind of came back in. Looks like we're trying to break this here now. This move measures up to the 500 day. We got another 3 points right from where we're at here in Sinclair. Now, the one thing that you do want to watch here for a potential trade, look at every other time we've busted above this blue line, which is your 200 day. We haven't stayed there hardly at all. So it looks like we kind of came back in a little bit. Watch for that same thing here. This will tell you how you want to trade it. Otherwise, if that trend has changed, we should break up and try to touch this 500 day at about 18.5 on Sinclair. So this one's pretty decent.
What else we got going on?
DWAC still up there. Zim, that is still working here.
Great. Yeah, Zim is trying to come up to that 1360 that it made in pre-market. We got some big amount of sell orders at 1375. There might be some resistance there. MIMO is now beneath my VWAP, and it's starting to come in a little bit, but still getting support at about the 28 cent area. Well, hi there, Kat.
Hey, buddy. Who wants to check out what's going on with the market here?
ACIC might be trying to make another run for the regular session highs.
Let's take a look here. ACIC.
Oh, wow. There goes Sinclair. That was setting up pretty nicely with its bull flag formation.
Let me see if Nick,
Zim.
FYI, I muted you to kill the keyboard noise. Just FYI.
Volume in LQR says
LQR we've traded before. I recognize this ticker as one of the smaller price stocks that we've traded here before. LQR, nice little move here up to that pre-market high.
Oh, this thing really had a sell-off yesterday. Yeah, this thing could get going here. It's starting to cross over some EMAs and VWAP here.
E-cell, we talked about that one a little bit earlier. It's penny stock. I'm just going to move over it. Boeing here still going for that high here. I still like this as a potential move up here in Boeing, especially the longer it defends 200, the more I think we bounce here on Boeing. I think some of those problems are short-lived. B-cell,
great run. Might get some resistance here if it can't break through this area where there's a 29 cent 74 resistance area. It's getting eaten up though, so it could break through and keep on going. I don't have levels for this one. What else are we looking at? Lots of, some things are starting to materialize here.
Yeah, BFRG starting to break down here. One of the things I'm seeing, and well, actually, let me actually flip over to that here. I think that's this. No, I keep screwing this up, man. This is, there we go. BFRG.
I agree, Crow. PTPI done. That's breaking down some of these stronger EMAs.
Yeah, I think you might have the same thing here in BFRG. I mean, keep them on your watch list in case they re-energize later. But look, we're getting lower highs here in BFRG. We're getting volume that's compressing. This is going to come more back in towards its kind of consolidation area here. Maybe 320 to 330 potential entry here, but volume really kind of slowing up. This one looks like it might be done. PTPI, you were saying the same thing.
Yeah, 322. I'm sorry, 122 is.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't chase that one earlier when we talked about it. 13. I even said I'm glad we're not chasing this one here. I don't want to do that. Fair enough.
Oh man, I don't know where Sinclair's going to end up, but this was such a great idea. It's one of the reasons why I encourage folks, if you have the time, come check out Happy Hour after the bell. We talk a lot about some things like this and really, really great trading ideas.
I had no idea about Sinclair until we mentioned it yesterday.
Yep. DWAC still hanging out up here in the 24.
LQR looking like this actually might try and go higher too. We'll see on that. That's tuna call. DWAC 24s. I tell you what, that 2450 level is going to get tested again here. It sure looks like it's trying to run up to that. Let's take a look at a longer time frame chart here. Things wild. I gave you that target earlier. I gave you that 500-day earlier. It looks like we're kind of pushing back up there.
Yep. Zim still holding at this area. It did get above the pre-market high by a penny, and it came back in. So I think we're going to be just kind of gearing up for another test of that in a little while. Keep that on your radar if you're still wanting to trade it. B-Frog got some support at the 345 level that I previously mentioned. If that holds, then we could see some continued upside. Maybe we get back above 358 and go to 374. If not, then the next level I have is 329 to the downside.
Yeah, it's the same downside level that I have, 13. I think that's probably where it's going next.
DWAC new highs.
Nick, you seeing anything out there in the news flow streets?
Yeah, I'm just looking around. I do know we got some news regarding Warner Brothers Discovery. This just hitting the wires from the Journal. They're saying the new CNN boss shakes up news operations, explores digital subscription model. One combined unit will serve TV, streaming, and digital platforms, while a new division will explore growth opportunities. This is literally just coming from the Wall Street Journal. Haven't had time to go through this article, but according to what I'm seeing, the first step, this was outlined in a memo. In a memo Wednesday, is to combine all of CNN's news gathering operations into one unit that will serve its TV, streaming, and digital platforms, while creating a division tasked with exploring growth opportunities. In an interview, Thompson, the new CEO, said that he's looking to monetize CNN's offerings potentially through subscription and wanted to find a better way to show video news on phones. We do know that CNN has a streaming platform, CNN Max. Not sure how this is going to integrate, but just this is coming from the Journal. Was
that their absolute failure of a premium service that they tried to release?
Well, CNN Max, I don't know how you can get CNN Max. I really don't see CNN Max advertised a lot. And so they are sounds like from this report, they are trying to be more like a New York Times or a CNBC.com saying, hey, when you go to CNN.com, you may have to have CNN Pro or a CNN subscription. So we'll see how this all shapes out to be. I don't know how this is going to work, but this literally news just hit .com at 10:05. And so I just come across this. So I'm going to try and go through it, see if we can get some responses, because this is some news worthy. We don't know if CNN is going to remain on CNN, like on cable TV, unless they're going specifically to streaming. We're going to have to watch this just because Peacock, everybody has been giving grief to the NFL regarding Peacock because of the Kansas City Chiefs game on Peacock, and paying for Peacock. Is NFL eventually going to be all streaming? Or are you going to actually have to have Peacock, Paramount Plus, and other streaming services to watch the NFL? So this is like a start for major news networks. Yeah,
this to me, I don't see anything good here. A couple of comments here from the chat. CNN, quote, more garbage. Crow, CNN, just laughing emoji. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys.
Who's going to pay for that?
The one thing I will say here, so the streaming services, by the way, BFRG is curling back up towards the top for those of you that are watching. I'm going to leave the screen on here so we can take a look at it. But there's a larger discussion to be had here with some of these streaming services. Remember how when this first came out, oh, God, you overpay for cable. It doesn't have all of this stuff. You can just stream what you want. Well, now to stream what you want, it needs to be spread across 3 different services. You need to pick and choose. I mean, it's just an absolute mess. I suspect that all of these segmented streaming services are going to combine once again.
I think they have.
Red, I'm the same way. I don't even turn CNN on. It's not news. It's just fake garbage.
No, it's an entertainment. I mean, a lot of these
it's an entertainment channel.
A lot of these, good way to put it. Broadcasters that they've had for a while are just in entertainment. I mean, I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. It's all entertainment. I think the best news you're going to get is going to be the one you read, and dare I say, people from YouTube. I think their journalism is really, really good compared to the garbage they're throwing out in mainstream these days.
And I actually want to add to that too, because it seems to me like we're kind of, journalism especially, is kind of going back to its roots here, right? The real quality stuff are the people that go out and ask hard questions are sometimes turned down. The stuff that's produced, the stuff that has all of this production backing, it is not valuable at all. I mean, I challenge any one of you to tell me what the last really valuable show you turned on. And now let's not even just pick on CNN. I mean, any of those
Fox, Newsmax.
Yes, I'm just saying, like, any of those channels that are produced, it's not the content, the quality of the content is not good. 13, what you were saying there about, people on YouTube, these people are trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to ascend the ladder without the help of a huge company. The only way they're going to be able to do that when it comes to news is reporting news. And I just feel like some of that is lost on some of these bigger production companies. I think there's going to be another swing back at some point in the future.
Do you throw NBC in there too? Meet the Press, MSNBC. Do you throw those networks? Or
I don't watch I don't watch anything that is news produced on TV. If you are in the news business and you are one of the major channels, there is an agenda pushing your salary and pushing the words out of your mouth. The people, there just is. I'm a big fan of what 13 said earlier, kind of going back to the more independent journalism. Fake garbage is a great term. Ryan, I did that just for you. For you. And that's the other thing, Jay. I think one of the big things here, like, again, taking all of the dressing and all of the sides and all of the stuff out of it. The big thing here is that a lot of the stuff being pushed as news isn't news. It's actually an opinion. and it's being reported as news. And I think that's the problem. And I think when you get down to some of these independent journalists, I don't even know if I want to call them that, but these YouTubers that are trying to do some of this stuff, I think they're not making this mistake, right? They're trying to report actual facts for people to make their own opinion. That's just my own 2 cents on it.
And it's not like they're not trying to monetize their channel either. They do advertise products that are helping pay the bills for them, and I get that. But they're like, okay, well, here's who's sponsoring me. Let's get back to the news, and then you don't hear about that anymore.
Yeah.
YouTube likes to inject their ads in between their segments, but some of these YouTubers.
Let me ask you guys, how many times have you guys found an idea or a stock? And when I say idea, I mean an idea for a trade or a new product or something that you can inevitably relate back to the stock market, even if it's crypto. Okay, even if it's crypto or stock, how many times have you found something like that on some smaller news outlet or niche? All of the time. That's the whole point. All of the time. That is not a rare occurrence.
One of the reasons why I think Happy Hour was so early to the shipping rates trade idea was because we were talking about this, and I had gotten news from some of these YouTubers about the potential of this conflict getting out of control. And we were really early to that. And I think it really bears watching some of these YouTubers that are very connected to what's happening in certain regions of the world.
Yeah, LQR, by the way, popped to its intraday high and pulled off of it. We'll see if LQR can break here. You know what, 13? That's actually a really good point, right? Because some of these people have family members and friends and people that they have personal ties to that they care about that being affected by whatever macro situation they're reporting on. I'm going to go to that than some dude in a suit that's thousands of miles away 100 times out of 100 and even more on Sunday. And I will say, I know EKS, you were talking earlier of some of the afternoon programming has changed. A couple of things about that. Number one, stick around because we do have big plans for programming, not just on this show, but on other shows as well. So be sure to stick around. Be sure to give your feedback. If you want to give it to me, go ahead. If you'd rather me not see it, give it to somebody else on the show's team. Always looking to kind of grow that. But as mentioned earlier, Happy Hour is still running in the afternoon. I know it's only for pro members. We can't have the entire all of YouTube get in there. But that.
Sorry, that was my phone.
Okay. But that is still running in the afternoon. Lots of valuable stuff on a daily basis out of there. LQR is going. Smoked tuna. Somebody throw a party for smoked tuna. This was an absolutely monster call. Gave this to you right around 240s coming off that 20-day. Big push here up to 274. Make sure that you guys, if you're trading this, make sure that you lighten some of that and pay yourself. Pay yourself on the way up. LQR still going here. Big move, big volume expansion. This is exactly what we needed to see. Smoke Tuna, great job on this one. Great job.
Absolutely. He's I think he mentioned a couple others that were moving today too. But I remember LQR, great job on that one. Big break out of the 200 EMA on the 5-minute from what I can tell here. Looks like DWAC is. I don't know if it's consolidating, getting ready for the next move, but it's moving. It's going sideways right now. Keep that one in mind. PTPI still a dog. SBGI, the Sinclair one we were talking about, starting to go sideways. It looks like it lost a lot of volume. And if I'm going too fast, just say so.
You're all right now. Zim keeps moving up as well, by the way. We've talked about that. Let me actually go back here real quick to
B-Frog. B-Frog might start to go here on now that's holding the 358 level that I was mentioning earlier.
Couple of things here that I really quickly want to mention. Jay Rice saying that's why I read 75 books last year. I know you're talking about reading fiction here. I definitely encourage that everyone read. That's something that I always need encouragement with. Actually, just got a recommendation from a coworker from Luke at work, so really excited to get that started off. But fully support that. The more you read, you'll be amazed how it can change your life. in more ways than one. Marie is asking, anyone here on Fidelity Trader Pro? I'm having issues today. Marie, I'm not on Fidelity myself. I am on Thinkorswim here and Trade the Pool. And I got to say, with Trade the Pool and Thinkorswim, I've noticed no issues here today. So haven't seen anything on my end. If anyone else out there is using Fidelity, let Marie know if you're having any trouble here today. BFRG, maybe that is moving back up here. Zim still near the highs. Buzz says, I'm on Fidelity, no issues here. So Marie, that might be something local to your machine. Mufe saying, missing money, we all are, man. We all are, but we got to let him do what is best for him and his family. And unfortunately, that is a new chapter in his life. We're all going to be rooting for him. That's for sure. Not the last time you see Mitch. I'll tell you that much.
That'll be great to have him on here as a guest.
Yeah, sure will. Sure will. BFRG stopped again at that high area. It's really having trouble breaking out of that area. The more times we knock on that area, the more likely it is to fall. Let me go ahead and get this out of here. Go here. There we go. Oh, man, I am just...
It's quite difficult for me to get into books. I absolutely love reading current events. It's like the story never ends. But, with books, there's always an ending. So I guess that's why I don't read so many books as I probably should. But man, there's always something happening in the world, and that's the ongoing story for me. I love reading the news.
Yeah, you're not alone here. BFRG really stopping here. This 368, 370 area has been stopping it all day long. Teresa, thank you. I have Fidelity and I've had issues this morning. Just restart your computer and you should be fine. It's interesting, Teresa. That's actually happened to me before too on Thinkorswim, right? I've opened whatever instance of it. I've either restarted that or the computer and things have seemed to be resolved. Good tip there. Looks like it's not local to just Marie's machine.
Lots of things that we've been trading this morning are really starting to pull. So be careful.
And
it seems like they're coming in.
What are you seeing, 13? Maybe that's going to set up for a new trade here.
Well, SPGI is starting to come in a bit. DWAC came in a little bit, but it's still holding some of these levels. PTPI might have found a bottom in that area that we were talking about in pre-market with the consolidation. Not enthusiastic about PTPI, just letting you know what I'm seeing. BFRG kind of holding this above this level at 358. It might go back up to 374. Zim coming in a bit, trying to test some of the longer term EMAs. I think the 200 EMA that it got through on the 5-minute chart is now going to be tested as support pretty soon here. So some of the things are just kind of pulling back, maybe setting up for another move. ACIC sideways, still above my VWAP, so that's encouraging. But like I said, some of these things are coming in.
This ACIC on the 5-minute looks great here. Yeah. This is a nice looking bull flag. This, to me, if this doesn't break down, this might be your watch of the afternoon here, or maybe even, I guess it's still the morning here. But this one might break out here. If this doesn't break down, look for this to break out. I don't think it stays here all day.
Yeah, BFRG, I agree. Smoke tuna, that one could push. It's holding these levels pretty nicely. We just need to see some of that volume come back in. And there's a lot of sell orders between 368 to about 381. Those could get eaten up, and we might start to see that right now. It's pushing. There we go, getting back up to 374.
I was going to say, guys, regarding Tesla, I didn't realize I missed this morning. That's my bad. But Tesla slashes car prices across Europe after similar cuts in China. We know that according to CNBC.com and Tesla's website, I think we have this on our own .com, that Tesla cuts prices of its Model Ys in Germany by as much as 8.1%. That's according to data from its website. While in France, the Netherlands, and Norway, the company has made similar cuts. So according to what I'm seeing in Germany, the Model Y rear wheel drive model now sells for $46,760, marking a roughly 4.2% discount from what it was previously worth. So again, cuts are happening. Is this a sign that they're trying to get more EVs on the road? Are they trying to maximize as much of the production as they can? Or is this just about It's seasonal. It's the discount time of the year.
It's are you asking rhetorically? Because I have an answer for that.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of is how China's EVs are subsidized by their government quite heavily to make them super competitively priced in markets like Europe. So I think if we looked at some of those China EV stocks, we're probably going to see some red. Not that there's plenty of red today, but when Tesla cuts their price, that makes it more competitive with those China EVs. And China EVs are already having a hard time in certain markets outside of China, and that's going to hurt them even more, I think. So I believe that's one of the reasons why you're seeing those cuts is Tesla's trying to be more competitive with those subsidized Chinese EV names.
I mean, I'm not buying a Tesla. I'm not buying any of that related.
Yeah, me either.
BFRG did have a huge pop real quick, all the way to 396, and then it just came right back in, and now we're going lower.
So that was the huge pull that we had. We really kind of broke out of that sideways area.
Yep. Sinclair still holding these areas. DWAC starting to come down a bit, still above VWAP, so there could be a bounce in DWAC at some point here. Keep your eye on that. Might actually start to get it pretty soon. MIMO, it's kind of following my VWAP here. I don't think it's done until we get a breakdown, but right now it seems okay. ZIM, if it gets down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute or VWAP, I think it's probably going to get the support it's looking for. Can't say for sure.
Real quick here, there are a couple of people discussing this here in the chat. First of all, Tracy saying, how do I find happy hour? Tracy, you have to be a Benzinga Pro subscriber. If you are, it will pop up at the bottom of your Pro platform. And once you're in. You'll continue to get the emails letting you know that they start. That show runs from 4 to 5 every day, Monday through Thursday. Another discussion here. Anyone know how to look up the 10-year on TOS? Lincoln. I've looked up TNX before, but that's not what you're asking for. One of the things that I do here, I'll go ahead and post it in the chat. I actually just Googled this and kept a tab open. It is a CNBC quotes page for the U.S. 10-year Treasury. That's what I look at every day. So I'll be honest, the one gripe that I have with Thinkorswim is that sometimes it's hard to find some of these different tickers for these different instruments you're looking for. And sometimes when I Google search them, I just stick with the first thing that I see there. So take a look at that, see if that answers your question. If you guys do find out exactly what you're looking for, please share it with us here. I think creating a doc with all of these really popular tickers for different things, and it might not be a bad idea. But Marie, I feel your pain. It is very frustrating. Let me know if that CNBC link helps you at all. Quantum 10-year yield is /10Y. Let's try that out. I don't know if I've ever put that in. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that matches this. Wow. /10. Here we go. Let me go ahead and copy this and put this in the chat. Marie, your problems have been solved. Quantum doing a great job out here. Let's do it.
Thank you, Quantum.
Thank you, Quantum. Here it is. There is your ticker. Oh, I can't do that through. Interesting. So /10Y is going to be your micro 10-year yield futures. That is the number that we are reporting here. So awesome stuff there. Yeah, this smash up the like for our community. This is exactly the type of stuff that we want. I know the market hasn't given us a whole bunch of really great trades here today, but that's just the way it is here. That's just the way the market is. We're not going to force it. We're going to wait for the puck to come to us. That's for sure.
If we continue
moving back down, I'm down on my swing here. That's all right though.
If we continue to see the 10-year move up, I think that there could be resistance at about 442 to 450. That might be an area where
you're just getting that from the chart, right?
This is just a technical read.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, it looks like things are really starting to break down. Sinclair is testing the 9 EMA.
You know what else is breaking down here, 13? The volume. I'm seeing kind of depressed volumes all over the place. I'm not really seeing anything move. I mean, even big stocks like Apple and Amazon, this is for the most part dried up here.
Well, we're getting broader market moves. I'm going to just go and look at the news that we get from our SPY feed and see if there's anything significant.
Yeah, I know Davos is going on, so maybe that's part of it. I don't really see anything. God, this is definitely seems a little bit slower here today. Definitely seems a little bit slower here today. Let's check in on BFRG real quick. BFRG holding under that. Let's check in LQR. Looks like Tuna's looking at LQR here.
AC
can't decide what it wants to do now. So, wow, nice little breakdown and bounce. Let's see if we take out that high there at 320 LQR.
ACIC is looks like it's going to try to make a run for 12. It doesn't quite have the volume, but it's getting some
This
pushes
is a good
here.
looking chart. Who was this? Jonathan Cooper that mentioned this earlier. Jonathan, this was you. Great job on this one. This was probably the trade. Good looking chart here today too. Nice little run out of the open. Nice little setup here the rest of the day. This is probably the play of the day.
I would just really like to see it make some new highs when it starts to top out like it's looking like it's doing.
Robert, we are not delayed. Sorry to interrupt. Robert Smith, we are not delayed an hour. I'm on Central Time. So one of the things you might be seeing on my screen is you might be seeing a Central Time print, which is 1 hour behind the market, but the stream is not delayed.
Let me take a look at VIX. We haven't looked at that in a while. I want to see where we're at with that. You get over 14 yet? No, we're at 15
we did.
now.
We're at 15.12 on the VIX.
Okay. Well, that's good. We might get our first close above 14 in a pretty long time. I think the last one I have is November 16th.
We've been waiting for that one too on the VIX. We've been waiting for that close.
I guess, the 4th, we did get a slight close above there. And then the next day we had a big candle that brought it back down. But this is a very, very big move and could be the first of, several moves coming. I think the selling pressure might be hitting the market.
Lynn, good call there. If you started the stream late, you might need to use that slider bar to get it to live. Thank you, Lynn. Appreciate that.
That'll do it.
You know what? This is good feedback. Put up a clock timer in the stream. Well, so one of the things that you'll see down here is that anytime I'm sharing a chart in Benzinga Pro, you'll notice that there is a time right down there at the bottom. And this is actually Eastern time, right? So I've got the 1037. And in fact, I believe the same is true here. Man, I cannot figure this out. These labels are just so... there we go. Even on Trade the Pool here, there is time down at the bottom, I believe. It's not on the screen. So for me, it always says the time down here. I actually have this set to Central Time, but you guys can't see that. So whenever I'm sharing Pro, there is already a clock on the screen. There's good feedback here, QM. LQR, nice bounce. Let's take a look at that here. Oh my God, did take out the highs there on LQR.
15 VIX is a new 30 VIX. I'm gonna have to take a look at that and see what that's about. I noticed that the CME FedWatch tool that we use to kind of get a handle on where people think rates are going. March rate sentiment is now falling for a 25 basis point rate cut at that time. It used to be well over 60, is getting as high as in the 70s that I've seen, and now we're at about 55%. So the market's starting to realize that we might not get first half.
Didn't that first start at like over 70%? So that's been coming down quite a bit then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It was at 70 last week on Friday, I believe.
Reality is starting to take hold, I think, is what we're.
Yep. And these are everything's run pretty handily over the past couple of months. So this would be a good time to maybe take some profits, take some off the table. Yeah. But I do expect the broader market to come in. like I said before, we're looking like we're getting a megaphone pattern on SPY daily. So expect that we get into the 460s at some point pretty soon here. Jay Rice saying Donkey Kong DraftKings is now at high of day.
Jay, are you playing that? I can't remember. Maybe the bottom is in here. We kind of double bottomed a little bit on that daily chart. Now we're kind of pushing out of this. This one is interesting. The one thing I will say, I'm curious to know how this does after the Super Bowl. Right? Because where did we do? Let me take a look here. Let me get Pro up here. And let's take a look at Donkey Kong, because we've tried to extract some type of seasonality on this around major sporting events and major sports seasons. And I'm not sure that we've had success with this. Let's see where we were last year, right? February. Yeah, we did. No, it was right here. It's right in here. Okay, so I believe the Super Bowl was like February 12th. Yeah, the day after the Super Bowl, it was lower. Several days later, we traded from 15 to 21. So look for last year we got, and actually, you know what? This might have been an earnings in here, because this is a big pot. Was that what that was?
They have earnings shortly after Super Bowl.
Oh man, so that might be it then. If DraftKings is weak after the actual Super Bowl event, might be a buy there.
Yeah, it's one of the things, because I traded this before when they first. I think they were brought via SPAC, I believe.
Yeah, they were, and this was actually one of the only successful SPACs for the longest time.
Yep, and then they had a nice head and shoulders all through 2020 and 2021 take place, and then we sold off, went down to just about $10 back to the SPAC price, and now we're trying to recover. Looks like 40 might be the near-term high to get through.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably doable here, though. I do like the trend of this really kind of coming off of its bottom. I wonder, have they slowed down on the spending at all? Because that was one of the big things that was driving them down, is they were trying to acquire new gamblers. They were spending a lot in order to do so, and that was leading to the depressed stock price. Maybe if they've turned that around and then maintained some of the base that they spent all that money on acquiring, this could actually be pretty good. Full disclosure, I use FanDuel. I don't trade on I don't gamble on DraftKings. I do gamble on FanDuel. I would not consider myself a great gambler by any means, and I enjoy very, very small bets, so I don't put a lot of capital into this to begin with.
Quantum mentioning Humana, and it's just been steadily going up out of the gate. Just
actually closing this gap here. This gap fills here at what? Let me get the low print here. This gap fills at 453.36. So we got another $1 here on this. It looks like we're filling this gap just today.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice how big of this move is, because it's only up 3%. But that is a nice move. Yeah,
daily chart tells the story here. Broke right above that big gap fill. We'll have to ask about this a little bit later for our gap trader.
Looks like DWAC bounced off of VWAP, and it's trying to reclaim the high that it made. Very slowly, though. Like you said, volume seems to have kind of left the market. It's going to be, a risky one or the other.
Be tactical with your buys here. You might not get that that volume that we really need to push it to a new level here. Another dip on LQR. Crow mentioning SHOT. Let's take a look here at SHOT. SHOT's been actually a pretty good trade for us several times here. SHOT, great intraday chart here. Ran up out of the open, came back in and held this $2 level pretty well.
Oh, Crow just mentioned it too. Yeah, B-cell is looked like it's about to take off. I'm also seeing CUTR, Katera. That one is slow moving, but it's got a pretty decent setup. I don't know what's going to happen.
We called this Cutter the other day. Yeah, I mean,
it just looks like it's setting up quite nicely. The problem is it doesn't have great volume, so I'm not sure if this will run or not. It just has a pretty decent setup.
Okay, let's take a look here. We've traded CUTR in Trade the Pool before.
RVSN popped and then dropped. This very 5-minute candle that we're in right now.
Yeah, I got stopped out of that a little too early. So this is one of the things that I've been kind of looking at, 13. recently, and this is I want to share it with all of you here because this is a struggle that I'm going through. One of the things that you can see here is you could see we were on our VSN early. We were looking for a break to new highs, maybe a challenge of this pre-market high. We ended up not getting it, right? And we stopped on this pull, right? So we pulled back through the VWAP. We got stopped out here. And then the trade worked. One of the things that I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to take trades right around when the market opens because I know that we have a limited amount of time for the actual show and I want to have content for it. But the real world doesn't give a damn about our show. You can see that the moves are actually happening a little bit later here. And I suspect if I'm a little bit more patient and I play our VSN on a move through the VWAP on a reclaim here, this is going to be a profitable trade instead of a stop out of a smaller trade. So this is something that I'm trying to work on. It's difficult because I want to be able to have things to talk about and things to demonstrate right at the outset of the market opening. But I think for making more successful trades, I might have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit on that. Just something that I've noticed. This is not the only time I've been stopped out of one of these smaller names, only to have it move a little bit later in the day.
Looks like ACIC, it's slow moving, but it just had a nice pop in the previous 5-minute candle, trying to get back up to the highs of the regular session. Still think it's going to try to make a move to 1205, the next level I have, but it's going to need the volume, and I don't know.
PayPal popped here. Did we get any news here on PayPal?
I saw that he mentioned that.
Yeah, QN mentioned this. I wonder if there was a newsprint here on PayPal. And again, I'm sorry, I don't have the squawk on.
Yes, I was going to say we have some headlines crossing. PayPal CEO said that they may move away from unprofitable businesses ahead. He also goes on to say that the PayPal CEO is also hinting at layoffs, is looking into our size, which has slowed us down. Hasn't delivered value proposition. Says there hasn't been a lot to celebrate the last few years. These are just some comments coming from PayPal CEO. But the one that's catching everybody's attention is layoffs could be coming.
Okay.
CEO was just
the CEO was on CNBC. Thanks, folks.
Apparently, people still watch that.
I actually have it on the screen here, but I can't hear anything, so I have no idea what the agenda is. What I use CNBC. I don't even know what this says about me. What I use CNBC for the most is what's happening on the Chiron at the bottom, because I notice that you'll often get people in FinTwit that'll talk about that. Other trading rooms will talk about that. Sometimes the stocks will react to that. So I keep that up, but for the most part, this is muted and I can't hear a word they're saying.
Yeah, the thing with PayPal is that it does have a pretty good technical setup. I was mentioning a couple of weeks ago and last week that it looks like it had an inverse head and shoulders setting up. So there was that. But again, on the fundamental side, I really don't like their buy now, pay later aspect. I think that's going to really affect a lot of companies that take part in that. And it's just going to add more debt to the consumer who's already suffering from a huge amount of household debt. And we're going to get the New York Fed Bank report on household debt, I believe sometime next month. I don't have the exact date, but that's something that I'm going to be watching because I think the household debt's been a very, very big problem for consumers. And it's not something that I think has really hit the market yet.
Okay. All right, folks, we got about 10 minutes left here, maybe 10, 12 minutes left here. Smash up the like for my man 13 and for Nick Brown. Nick, I got to say, I really, really enjoy when your school gets canceled because then you get to join us here and bring us news as it happens. I'm going to thank them for closing the school here today.
Great call out, Jay. DWAC popping. We were just talking about how it was getting VWAP support. It's moved up and now it's got new highs on the regular session.
It took out that intraday high. And by the way, take a look at this 13 running to that 500-day moving average on the daily chart there. Called that one from the beginning.
Yep. That one's looking like a pretty good trade. And it's really overbought right now. So there's going to be a point probably today where I'd expect this to just absolutely knife. That's my thought.
All right, and with the show ending here in just about another 10, 12 minutes, stick around for All-Access, which follows us here today. So stick around for that. AB going to be bringing us home.
All right.
Steadies, at what time do y'all go live? We go live right after 9 a.m. So generally anywhere between 9 and 9:10 a.m. We've got the pre-market prep show on before us. They will sometimes go over a few minutes there. So between 9 and 9:10, we start every day here, Steady User. Hope to see you around. Generally, by the way, DWAC did go to and through that 500-day here, so printed above 27. We'll see eventually where this stops. Steady User, one more thing that we'll normally do is we'll try to come up with a list of targets or stocks to trade prior to the market actually opening. Once the market opens, we use relative volume scanners and then our chat here to generate new trading ideas. Some days are slower than others. Some days we've got too many things. We can't even cover them all. Others, we're kind of looking for volume pops elsewhere out there.
For levels regarding DWAC, I think just under 30 might be the next level it goes to if we have more upside. I'm seeing some pretty significant supply area from August of 2022. That would be the next area where I think it gets resistance, right just beneath 30.
Jay saying Jamie Dimon just said positive things about Trump. That's surprising in itself, but that could actually account for the DWAC move here. I think anytime you're going to have Trump in headlines, you're going to get some type of reaction here in DWAC. I think if you have a headline that comes out that's not really tied to anything that you can make money on, I suspect then that those moves will be short-lived. I don't know. We'll see. Again, what I'm trying to say here is use DWAC as a trading vehicle. No matter who it is that's talking, it's someone that likes Trump or someone that hates Trump. Don't think about this as a long-term investment. Oh, we're going to triple here. I mean, it might triple, but it might do that in short order. Use this as a trading vehicle. Keep yourself protected and stay true to your rules, of course. Crow mentioning LAES. Remember, this was a blast from last week. Let's see if that can get gearing here again. We had two big pops last week, right up into about the same area. In fact, you can see it here. Was this one from this week? This is, 116.
We traded it yesterday, too.
Yeah. It's yesterday. Had this as recently as yesterday, but also had this last week. Looks like LAES not done yet, getting some action here again today.
Yeah, Ryan, really important about setting your political bias aside when you're trading and investing in the market. A very smart person told me that that's something you really should try to do. If you were very much against Obama and his presidency, and you decided not to participate in the market, you would have missed out on one of the greatest bull runs we've ever had. So I think it bears worth mentioning. Don't let your political bias get to you when you're trading. Leave all that at the door and just focus on making money.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I have my own issue with that. We all have our own biases.
Yep.
But I actually do spend energy trying to ensure that I check it at the door. Sometimes I'm successful, sometimes I'm not.
I want to bring up you could call it humorous if you want, but it's an idea nonetheless. You remember when Trump was president, and every time he would come on and start talking, Kodak would just absolutely run.
Yeah.
Because of a previously mentioned, that, oh, wow, there goes LAES. I previously mentioned a bit about them possibly have something to do with COVID, some kind of I don't even remember what the news was, but it was COVID related. Every time after that, when he came on, the stock would move. Now Kodak has a really low RSI. It's actually probably among the lowest. No, not quite. It's pretty low though in terms of all-time stock price. This could be something to keep on your radar for a move if he comes on and starts talking.
So here's the graphical or the visual representation of exactly what you're talking about. This big spike where this thing went from $2 and change to $60. This all happened in one day here. So, shout out here. I think the bigger thing that you're talking about here, 13, is that you're talking about pattern recognition. Pattern recognition can be done with anything. It can be done with earnings. It can be done with seasonality. It can be done with polarizing people that make headlines like Trump. So if you're able to find out how you can actually use this information to then generate trades that are profitable for you, you're doing the calculus necessary.
Yeah, QN, absolutely. It's way overvalued. I don't think it's worth the price that it's that the market cap's suggesting.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that it's not a great trade vehicle.
Yeah,
and that's all we're saying. Just I wouldn't not get married to this. Just trade this thing, and I think you'll be fine. Let's keep it at that.
Well said, 13. Well said.
Thanks.
I think sometimes, we all get our biases. We're all affected by them. And sometimes we just need a audible reminder to kind of put them aside. Okay, so as mentioned here, in just a couple of minutes, we are going to be going over to all access. Just stick around. Everything's already going to be set. Tomorrow, we also have a webinar we are doing. So join us for the Road to Wealth in 2024, a Benzinga seminar, an insightful event designed to guide you through the financial landscape and unveil the strategies leading to wealth creation in the coming year. I know we've been waiting for that big wealth creation move for a while. This is going to be really exciting. Join us for an enlightening journey as we explore the latest trends, market insights, and investment strategies propelling individuals towards financial success. Again, that is going to be tomorrow. Here is the link. I'm going to throw it in the chat so you can register. Takes care of all of the administrative stuff. Thank you, Aaron Thomas. Hope to see all of you there. Going to look around here before we kind of close up shop, and then we'll probably throw it over to AB.
Yeah, it looks like DUX just gearing up for its next move. Again, I think that once we get to just beneath 30, we could get into some pretty heavy resistance if we don't start to get it here. But I think there might be just one more move left in DWAC. Just be careful with this one. Could see a huge knife.
Okay, I'm going to roll through the scanner here real quick. BFRG hanging right out below that VWAP. We'll see if we can reclaim here. The one thing to take a look at on BFRG is that the volume has been steadily declining. So we actually like to see the opposite of that, right? We want to see that expanding volume and that continue to expand. That tells us that we're in the right stock here. BFRG, this might be slowing down a little. I noticed that B cell, you guys were mentioning earlier, this is a penny stock. I know we broke beneath the VWAP here. Maybe we're going to trade a little bit higher here on B cell. This one I'm passing on. And then PTPI. This is another one that we had here from the list. Let's see if PTPI can get going here. Again, this has really kind of been a disaster or kind of a slow mover here this morning. Keep some of these on your list. We'll see if they end up popping a little bit later in the day.
Right on, right on. Some of these are still looking like they might have some fuel left in the tank, but as we get to the to lunchtime, that's when a lot of these institutional traders will take their break. Yeah, Lincoln. While you're on a roll, I can never find Bitcoin USD on Toss. That's /BTC. That is going to be the Bitcoin futures. That's the one I use anyway. /BTC tells you how much Bitcoin is worth in USD. That is the futures chart, so that drives the boat there.
Guys, I was going to say we are getting some comments from the Microsoft or Davos Microsoft event. OpenAI CEO says next major AI model will be much better at writing computer code. The CEO also goes on to say that AI may in the future become a new computer operating system. So just watch Microsoft and other AI tech names. That's not scary at all. Letting AI write its own code.
What is up, y'all? How are we doing today?
We're going good, AB. Hey, look at that. I love that little Lions display right behind you, AB. 2-0. Morning.
Uh-oh. You getting some of that weather?
He's frozen. He was outside too long. He got frozen. Nick, are you off school today because of the cold? Why aren't you in school?
Yes. This is the second day in a row. Yesterday was my birthday. We had snow, and today is the cold. We're off again today.
Oh, well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. 2 in a row. Can we make it 3 tomorrow? I doubt it, but Friday I'm off.
My fingers are crossed for you.
Well, Nick, I'm not worried about you. You're a bright kid. You've got a lot of good things going for you, but we gotta. I don't care how cold it is. We got to keep these schools open. Some of these American school children. I asked my niece what her favorite color was the other day, and she said 3. I said they closed school for a little bit too long during COVID, I think. So I don't care how cold it is. I think the kids got to be in school right now.
ACIC broke through that 1205 level. By the way,
right.
So anyway, just thought I'd put that out there.
We're going to be back for another. Can you guys hear me now? It sounds like I froze there temporarily. Okay, great. AB, get ready to take it away here.
Yep.
I'm just gonna drop off here.
Yep.
And we'll see you all tomorrow, 13. Hopefully, Nick, my fingers are crossed. Hopefully, we'll see Nick tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone who tuned in to live trading. Thank you, of course, Nick Brown, Ryan Faluna, and 13 for helping us walk through some of these trades. We're going to get into Benzinga's All-Access, the one place on YouTube that you can go for free access to company executives. We're going to be talking to my man, Dean Skurka, the president and CEO of WonderFi. As you can see, the ticker is up there on the stream. If you're in Canada, that is WNDR. If you are in the States, OTC markets, WONDF. Again, we're going to be talking to WonderFi's Dean Skurka. Without further ado, let's go ahead and give Dean our special intro and bring him on the stream. All right, Mr. Skurka, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for joining Benzinga's All-Access. So before we hop into it, you want to give us just a brief overview of what WonderFi is and what you guys do?
Absolutely. So WonderFi is publicly traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the ticker WNDR. Over the last few years, we've been consolidating the regulated cryptocurrency exchange segment in Canada. We've acquired 5 of the 11 regulated crypto trading platforms in the country. Today, we own and operate 2 of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the country, BitBuy and CoinSquare. And we also own and operate another subsidiary, SmartPay, which is in the exciting vertical of crypto payments. And, all in, we have over 1.6 million Canadian registered accounts on our platforms with over $1 billion of client assets on the platforms. And certainly as the crypto industry, starts to pick up some momentum here, our company is one of the clear beneficiaries.
Got it. So, WonderFi owns 5 out of the 11 regulated trading platforms in Canada. If you've been in the crypto markets for a while, the landscape looks a little different today than it did maybe 10 years ago. How important is it to use a regulated platform?
Look, I think there are a long line of examples of what can happen and the risks that exist when you use non-regulated offshore crypto trading platforms. Certainly in Canada, we've seen, residents impacted by, FTX, Celsius, Voyager. And, we think it's really important as the industry evolves that the participants understand the importance of regulated trading platforms, the support that they provide to Canadian participants or participants generally in any jurisdiction. And, we think certainly as seen recently, if you think about the last year, as the industry has evolved and matured from the likes of FTX and Voyager, Celsius, these unregulated offshore platforms, to Bitcoin ETFs, clear and concise regulation in Canada around the crypto trading platforms that exist here. You're really starting to see a shift to a more structured, regulated, safe environment for participants to interact with the digital asset economy. And we think WonderFi, through our operating businesses, CoinSquare and BitBuy, are certainly doing a job of providing that access to Canadians.
And is that sort of concentration or centralization healthy for the crypto market?
Yeah, I think so. I think generally speaking, I'll speak for Canada, but there was certainly an abundance of crypto trading platforms, even more so that existed prior to the regulatory process that played out in Canada. We certainly think competition is healthy, but when you think about 11 regulated crypto trading platforms in a country the size of Canada, certainly that lends itself to consolidation. And, we're really fortunate that WonderFi has been able to lead that charge. We've consolidated, as mentioned, 5 of the 11 regulated crypto trading platforms in Canada. We have since migrated the user bases from Coinberry, CoinSmart, and Bitvo into the BitBuy trading platform. So when you think about WonderFi, we've acquired 5 of 11 crypto trading platforms that are operated in Canada. Today, we operate 2. And, really from a public company perspective, we think that is part of the overall strategy. How do you integrate these businesses? How do you identify the synergies that can exist and, really run a larger, more efficient crypto platform at scale?
Your subsidiaries, BitBuy, CoinSquare, and SmartPay pulled in close to $10 million in Q3. How big of an effect did the recent acquisition of Coinsquare have on your revenues, and what effects will it have moving forward?
Yeah, great question. The acquisitions of Coinsquare and CoinSmart really did a lot for WonderFi. Certainly strengthened our balance sheet from a cash and investment perspective, and also provided real scale, which has driven the significant growth in revenue that you mentioned. In Q3 on a standalone basis, WonderFi generated $3 million of revenue. You think about Q3, the first quarter on a consolidated basis post merger, and that number has obviously gone up significantly to 10 million. Now you think about these businesses and the opportunities that exist as markets continue to improve and sentiment around the digital asset industry improves as well. Q4, we recently put out guidance that revenues will be between $12.5 and $13 million. So you're talking about a 25-30% increase from where things were in Q3. And certainly if you think about, WonderFi pre-merger, we were doing closer to $3 million of revenue a quarter. So you're seeing meaningful growth through the consolidation efforts. And now we're starting to see meaningful growth through, the improving conditions for the digital asset economy.
Got it. And obviously, in big recent crypto news, we had the Bitcoin spot ETF approvals here in the United States. Has that had any impact on WonderFi so far? And if not, I mean, what do you expect going forward with this big news?
Absolutely. Certainly in the lead up to the ETFs, which were last week, there was a lot of excitement and attention and put on the industry. Certainly that played a large role in the increased numbers that I mentioned in Q4, where we saw a 25-30% increase in revenues compared to the prior quarter, and about a 50% increase in overall trading volumes compared to the prior quarter. Certainly last week was a major week for the industry. Our trading platforms responded well. Our platform saw significant increased usage, whether it's trading volume, signups. So, we think that the overall excitement and attention that the ETFs have created has really reinvigorated the crypto industry and really brought it back into people's attention. When you think about the long-term impacts, certainly there are natural, impacts on the price of Bitcoin as these ETFs roll out successfully, and as AUM increases on those products, the pressure on the price of Bitcoin will be, something to watch. Longer term, we think about, the introduction that this creates to a whole new audience that otherwise haven't been, embracing the industry, haven't given it the credibility that now they might on the back of, likes of BlackRock, really, building products in the space. And so we like to think of it, from a long-term perspective, a lot more people are getting educated on the digital asset industry today as a result of these ETFs. Certainly when we think about the typical behaviors of our users or typical behaviors we see, people generally start by gaining exposure to Bitcoin, and then from there really learning about the different assets that exist, whether it's Ethereum or competing layer ones or layer twos, and really going down the rabbit hole in terms of what this ecosystem really is in aggregate, because it is much bigger than just Bitcoin. And so we think that this is, a massive moment that adds legitimacy and credibility to the market, and long-term will increase the opportunity and the addressable market significantly. We think of ETFs as complementary products to what we're trying to accomplish. ETFs have existed in the Canadian market for a long time. And, we certainly think platforms like ours play a big role in the, future direction of the industry alongside ETFs and other products.
Got it. And then how about the halving? What will the effect be from the halving? What's the effect been like in the past? And also, I mean, for some of our audience that may not be familiar, do you mind just, I guess, kind of describing or explaining like I'm five what the halving is with Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, I'll do my best on that one. So I guess at a high level, if you think about Bitcoin and how new Bitcoins are produced, there are Bitcoin miners that are competing to create new coins. Every 4 years, a halving event occurs where those rewards are halved. And so this, slows down the new supply of of Bitcoin, which historically has, been a positive catalyst for pricing. We're, we're not going to speculate on the impact, per se, in terms of the price and where things will go. Historically, what we've seen is, again, significantly more awareness and attention on Bitcoin and the digital asset ecosystem through events like the halving. And we think through that process, platforms like ours typically see, an increase in signups, an increase in trading volumes, and overall activities increasing across the board, which naturally helps, our operating businesses significantly. And so, we're excited that, if you think about, the calendar year, you'll have the Bitcoin ETFs, you'll have the Bitcoin halving, there are already discussions around the Ethereum ETFs and when those might get launched. And we think that, these positive catalysts are very favorable for the industry as a whole and will certainly improve the growth opportunities that WonderFi's operating platforms have in front of them. And so, we're working hard at, building out the improvements we want to see in our products, making onboarding, smoother and more seamless for users, and looking at the additional products and services that we can offer to our users as the industry really comes back into focus. And so, we think 2024 represents a really big opportunity for the digital asset. You think about the legitimacy and credibility that the easy ETFs are bringing to the market. You think about that in a year that has a Bitcoin halving, and you think about a year more broadly where, the macro setup is more favorable than it certainly had been in the prior 2 years. So we think that the industry is set for a big rebound this year, and we think WonderFi is right at the center of it and is poised to have a really strong 2024.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, a lot of great news coming out of the crypto space right now. And it doesn't matter, I guess, where you are on the spectrum of someone out there trying to buy Bitcoin itself or buy a Bitcoin ETF. It seems like, these customers are going to have more options moving forward. Give me a hot take, Dean. Do you think Ethereum will ever surpass Bitcoin as the largest crypto? And if so, when do you think that could be?
It's hard for me to truthfully speculate on stuff like that, but I'd say they are both clearly the leaders in this segment. You think about Bitcoin and the excitement that was generated off of the back of ETF, what that's meant for other digital assets like Solana that's been able to increase significantly during that same period. And we think generally both of these tokens, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are the natural entry point for new participants. I don't really have a view on whether or not that means ETH will eventually, surpass Bitcoin in market cap. I certainly think both play a really important role in bringing in new participants to the market. Bitcoin as the digital gold, as the standard, as the household name that people will be familiar with and comfortable with if they are going to enter the industry or the ecosystem. Ethereum as that, evolution of, okay, what else can you do, whether it's through smart contracts, the implementation of DeFi protocols, NFT trading. There's a whole world that exists through Ethereum that doesn't exist through Bitcoin. And I think they are very complementary and, do a really good job at bringing in, the next wave of participants into the industry. And then from there, it's really a rabbit hole, whether it's competing layer ones like Avalanche and Solana, whether it's layer twos like Arbitrum and Optimism. There is a deep and vast ecosystem within this industry. We certainly think, Bitcoin and ETH being the household names, that they're always going to drive the adoption. And, I don't really foresee a scenario where, one could necessarily flip the other. I think they're both anchored as the top two biggest cryptos by market cap. I would expect that trend to continue moving forward. And, as mentioned, I think they both do a really play an important role at bringing in the next participants into the industry.
Got it. Well, Dean, any other hot takes or things you're excited for when it comes to WonderFi's plans over the next year or so?
Yeah, look, we're in a really unique position as the largest crypto trading platform in the country with some of the, most licenses and regulatory clarity, to support these businesses. We're looking at products and services that we can offer Canadians within those licensing frameworks to, continue to offer Canadians as much of the digital asset ecosystem as we can. And so we're really excited about the upcoming roadmap we have for 2024. And we're really excited to continue to offer Canadians access to the digital asset ecosystem. We feel really strongly about the role that this industry will play in financial services moving forward. And we think that we offer Canadians a really safe and compliant way to access the economy. And one more hot take, I'll say Lions win the Super Bowl.
Boom, there you go. You see the Lions. Oh, let me move the other way. The Lions logo behind me. I love that pick. Well, Dean, thank you for hopping on Benzinga's All-Access. It's been a pleasure to learn more about WonderFi and what's going on in the crypto world, because you really got to watch it every day. If you miss one day in the crypto world, it seems like you missed a whole year's worth of headlines. Dean, we'll have to have you on again sometime soon. Anytime you guys have some big news or things you want to talk about, hit my line and we'll bring you back on. Dean, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and stay warm up there if possible.
You too. Thanks for having me, and happy to come back anytime.
Of course. All right, guys. That was Dean Skurka, the CEO and president of WonderFi. We're going to wrap up Benzinga's All-Access today. Make sure to stay tuned. We'll be doing a big webinar tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. We've got a RAS report after this, and this stream will redirect you there. So, just stay tuned, and then don't have to go anywhere. Keep the great Benzinga content coming. Make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and stay green out there. Peace and love, y'all.